Hi guys, and welcome back. Today we're making some hot cross buns. This is going to be cranberry orange flavored, and of course if you wanted a plain version, I also have that here on the channel already. I'll link it in the description box for you all. So let's jump into this recipe. You see how soft and spongy and fluffy this hot cross buns is? You all are going to love this recipe. So let's jump into it. Let me show you how easy it is to make. So we're going to start in our bowl. I'm going to put together all of my wet ingredients. So the milk and the sugar goes in with your yeast, and we're going to give this a mix and set it aside to bloom. You want to make sure it blooms. If it doesn't bloom, that means the yeast is old and you'll need to start over. Add in 1 egg. Also, when you're doing this, make sure your milk is lukewarm and not boiling hot. In went salt. I'm going in with a pinch of food coloring and some vanilla essence or extract or mixed essence, whatever you have on hand. And in goes some unsalted softened butter. We're going to whisk these ingredients to combine. This is the wet base. Now I want you guys to be very careful when you're adding the flour part to this. Make sure you measure it properly. First, we're going to spice this up with some fresh nutmeg and some cinnamon powder. And I'm going to put zest 1 entire orange. If you think that's going to be too strong for you, then you can omit it if you want, or you can just use half of the orange. Whisk that in. And now for the flour, we're going to use 3 packed cups of flour. So when you're scooping the flour out, pack it into the cup really well. If you don't, your dough is going to be extremely sticky and very hard to work with. So I went ahead and sifted that into the wet mixture, and now we're combining halfway. So just when it starts to look like that, add in your chopped cranberries and continue to mix. In this way, it's incorporated into the dough and you don't have to knead it in at the end. So this is what I find works really good for me. So you want to mix it really well. It's going to absorb the liquid. You see how sticky it looks? We're going to flour our surface and place this onto our floured surface. And then we'll sprinkle some dry flour over the top. See how very sticky? And then we'll start working the dough and bringing it together. You want to knead it for about 5 minutes until it's nice and smooth. And then you want to bring it into a dough ball. You see how that stickiness starting to go away? That's what you want. You don't want to add too much dry flour. And you see how I'm kneading it? I need it to get really smooth so that we have some really beautiful buns. So here I'm forming it into that dough ball, and then I'll place it into a lightly greased bowl. And then spritz a little bit of oil over the top so that when it starts to rise, it doesn't stick to the plastic wrap. Cover and allow to double. I place this in my oven with a pot of boiling water, and it helps it to proof really quickly. Now once it's doubled in size, you're going to punch down to release all of the air that's in there, and then we'll start making our dough balls. So you want to break them about 4 ounces each, and these are going to make 12 buns. Place it into a greased 9 by 13 pan and spritz with a little bit of oil, and then cover and allow to double in size. Place it back into your oven with that pot of water. That hot water with that steam really helps it to proof nicely. And if your oven has the proof option, of course you can use that. Now let's make the syrup that we're going to glaze the buns with. So I have sugar and water, and we're going to bring this up to a boil and allow it to get nice and sticky. Once it's sticky, you're going to take it off of the heat and set aside. You do not want it to crystallize. You're not looking for any threads to form. You just need a really nice sticky syrup. Now when it's done, I'm going to zest in half of an orange because I'm looking for a really strong orange flavor here. So mix that and set it aside. The heat is going to release all of those natural oils from the orange. To a separate bowl, we're gonna have icing sugar, powdered sugar, confectioner sugar, whatever you call it, and I'm zesting the rest of the orange, so half of the orange, and I also squeezed in half of that orange into here along with a little bit of milk, so orange juice and milk, and we're going to mix this. You're looking for a really thick paste. You see how thick this looks? You need it to be really thick, because if it's too thin, it's going to run off the buns when you pipe it. So when the buns are done, we're going to allow it to cool, and then we'll transfer it to my rack, and then we'll brush it with the sugar glaze. And once we finish brushing it with that glaze, we'll go ahead and pipe on the crosses, and you can see the specks of orange in the icing sugar. This was so delicious. You may think it's a lot of orange zest, but for me it was perfect. And if you wanted to do a lemon version, of course you can. And that's it. Once you finish piping the crosses on the buns, this is now ready to be enjoyed. A really soft, light, fluffy, delicious hot cross buns. I have other variations on the channel. I also have a coconut cherry, so you'd want to check that out. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. If you're new to my channel and you like what you see, I hope you subscribe. Feel free to email me any important questions at natashaskitchen19@gmail.com. I'll see you all in my next video. Stay safe, everyone.